Good morning, grade 9s. Today is the 7th September and you have to work through these examples of this exercise with me. And then we're also going to look at exercise 17.2 for homework that you're going to do on your own first and then come back to this video to mark your answers. Okay, now algebraic equations, you know how to solve a straight linear equation to solve for x when it's a linear equation. But today, the x, the unknown, the thing that we want to solve is in the denominator. Okay, how do we go about solving this equation? Now, first of all, can you see, let's look at the first example here. This 5 is just 5 as it is. It's not written as a fraction. But I would like to write it as a fraction by putting it on a denominator. And without changing the value of this 5, I'm just going to put it on 1. Okay, so now we have to go look at all our denominators. We have an x, and a 1 here. All right? Let me just say this x is not equal to 0. They just tell you that every time because we can't have an x in our we can't have a 0 in our denominator. Okay, so they just tell us here that whatever we get the value of x is, it's not going to be equal to 0 because it's not allowed to divide by 0. Okay, so that's just, don't let that bother you. Right, now we look at all the denominators, x, and 1. And we have to go find a new LCM. Okay, let's write it here. What do you think will my new LCM be between x, and 1? My new LCM will be x. Okay, so now you have to go ask yourself, with what should I multiply this denominator so that it looks like the LCM? I don't have to multiply it with anything, right? So therefore, the top part, 4, will just stay as it is. Okay, and now I throw away the denominators because I'm solving for x. That's the only time where you can throw away the denominators. Okay, I keep the positive there, and now again I ask myself, with what should I multiply this denominator so that it looks like my LCM? Again, I don't have to multiply it with anything because it is already the LCM, so the top part there will stay 6. I keep the equal sign, and this is why it's so important that I wrote this 5 as a fraction, because now you also have to ask yourself, with what should I multiply that denominator so that it looks like the LCM? I should multiply it with x. So what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. So I multiply the top with x as well. Okay? And now 5 times x is just 5x, and the bottom part will look like my LCM. But remember, we said we're going to throw away the denominators. And now this is much easier to solve. 4 plus 6 is 10, equals to 5x, and now to get rid of the 5, I just divide with 5 on both sides. So then x will be equal to 10 divided by 5 is 2. Easy, right? Okay, let's look at the second example. Here we have a 5x as a denominator, we have a 5, we have a 3x, and we have a 3. Again, they tell us here that x will not be equal to 0, right? But don't let that bother you. Okay. So now we have to go find our new LCM. What will that be? If we look at the numbers 5 and 3, the new LCM will be 15. And because there is an x, the LCM has to have an x in it as well. Okay, so now we have our LCM. Now we go ask ourselves, with what should I multiply this denominator so that it looks like the LCM? I should multiply it with 3. If I multiply this with 3, the bottom, then it will be 15x, which is my LCM. But what I do on the bottom, I must do at the top as well. So 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, I keep the negative there. Now the second term. With what should I multiply that denominator so that it looks like the LCM? I should multiply it with 3x. I should multiply it with 3x. All right? But remember we said what we do at the bottom, we must do at the top as well. And 1 times 3x will stay 3x. Okay, then I keep that equal sign there. The third term, with what should I multiply that 3x so that it looks like the LCM? I shall multiply that with 5. But what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. And 2 times 5 is 10. Alright, last term. With what should I multiply this 3 so that it looks like the LCM? I shall multiply that with, I hope you all agree, with 5x. But what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. And 2 times 5x is 10x. And remember, we throw away our denominators now. So the most difficult part here is just to determine the LCM. Because now we have a straight forward linear equation that we have to solve. Okay? This negative 10x, I'm going to take to the other side, to the left-hand side. And because it was negative, it's now going to become a positive 10x. And I keep this negative 3x here. I keep the equal sign. Okay? Here we already have a 10 on the right-hand side. And then this positive 3, I'm going to take to the right-hand side. And then it's going to become a negative 3. Okay, now all the like terms are on the same side. So I can subtract them. 10x minus 3x is 7x. And 10 minus 3 is 7. To get rid of the 7, I divide with 7 on both sides. So x will then be equal to 7 divided by 7 is 1. I hope you understand that. Alright, so now you have to go do exercise 17.2. I think it's on page 188. Number 1, A, C, E, and number 2, A, C, D. So please pause this video and first do the exercise on your own and then come back here to around about 7.5 minutes and then watch me discuss the memo with you. Okay, the first example is very easy because I have on the left hand side 6 divided by x. Okay, now I want to get rid of that x that's in the bottom, so I can just simply take it to the other side, and because we divided on the left hand side, on the other side I'm now going to multiply. Okay, that was very easy. And now to get rid of that 18, I'm going to divide with 18 on the left hand side, so 6 divided by 18, and then x is alone on the right hand side, and if you simplify that, you will get 1 over 3, because 6 divided by 18, simplified is 1 over 3. The same with the next one, C. There is more than one way to solve this question, C, but let's do it on my way now. To get rid of that 5x at the bottom, I can just simply, because I'm dividing with 5x on the left-hand side, I can get rid of that denominator by multiplying it on the other side, on the right-hand side. So negative 1 multiplied with 5x is negative 5x. And now I want to get rid of that negative 5 because I want to have x alone, so I'm going to divide with negative 5 on both sides. So then x is just 4 over negative 5. Alright, here we have a whole number or an integer at e, it's negative 1. And I would just really like to rewrite this quickly as negative 1 over 1. So that is a fraction so that I have a denominator there. Okay, so now I have to go look at all my denominators, x, 2x, and 1. And now I have to go find a new LCM. And that will be a 2 and an x. That's the most difficult part, to find the LCM. Okay? Right, so now I go ask myself, with what should I multiply this denominator so that it looks like the LCM, which is 2x? I have to go multiply it with 2. But what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. And then 1 times 2 is 2. I can just throw away the denominator now. Okay? The next denominator is already the same as the LCM, so I don't have to multiply it with anything. So I just keep the top part as it is. It's 1. Keep the equal sign. And now I should multiply this denominator with a whole 2x so that it looks like the LCM. Okay? But what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. Multiply with 2x. And 1 times 2x, negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. Alright, so I add them together. 3 is equal to negative 2x, and now I want to solve for x, so I have to get x alone. So I divide with negative 2 on both sides. So then x is equal to negative 3 over 2. Okay, or it's negative 1.5. Depends on how you simplified it. Alright, 2a, I have in my denominator an x, a 3, a 2x, and a 2. So I have to find the new LCM. Between 3 and 2, the LCM will definitely be 6. And because there's an x, there will be an x as well in the LCM. Okay. With what should I multiply this denominator so that it looks like the LCM? I should multiply it with 6. So what I do at the bottom, I do at the top as well. So 1 times 6 is 6. Keep the plus. With this denominator, I should multiply with 2x so that it looks like the denominator. Because 3 times 2x is 6x. So I do it on top as well. And 4 times 2x is 8x. Keep the equal sign. The next denominator I should multiply with 3 because 2x times 3 is 6x, so I do it on top as well. And 1 times 3 is 3. And the last denominator, that I should multiply with 3x. And I do it on top as well. And then I throw away the denominator. And 3 times 3x is 9x. Do you see we have a very easy, straightforward linear equation that we have to solve now? Okay, this 3 I'm going to take to the left-hand side. Then it's going to become a negative, so 6 minus 3 equals, I keep the 9x on the right-hand side, and then this positive 8x I'm going to take to the right-hand side, and it's going to become a negative 8x. So 9x minus 8x is 1x. I don't have to write the 1. And 6 minus 3 is equal to 3. Okay. The next one is it's probably the most difficult one of the exercises today because there's more than one term in my numerator. Okay. But don't let that bother you. If you follow the rules, you will get the answer quickly. Okay, so what will the LCM be? That's our first step. Between 3x, and 3x, and 2, I think the LCM will definitely, I hope you agree with me, be 6x as well, the same as the top one. Okay, now guys, here is the difficult part. Not really, but yeah. I have to multiply this denominator with 2 so that it looks like the LCM, right? But what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. Now please put whatever is on top, if there's more than one term, in brackets before you multiply it with 2. Okay, let me show you. I'm just going to write the 2 in the front. 2 times whatever was on top. Okay, keep the negative sign. Now the next term, the next denominator, I also have to multiply with 2 so that it looks like the LCM. So I do it on top as well, but please put it in brackets, okay? And then I'm just going to write the 2 here in front. It doesn't matter, really it doesn't. 2 times 6 minus x but mathematically it's more correct to write it like that. The next denominator, again, I must multiply with 2 so that it looks like the LCM. So whatever is on top, I multiply with 2 as well, but please in brackets. Okay, so, wait, there shouldn't be an equal sign here. It should be a plus. There we go. Plus 2 times, and what was on top in my numerator was 3x plus 2. There's the equal sign. And now that denominator I should multiply with 3x so that it looks like the LCM. So I do it on top as well. And 3x times 3x, I'm still not going to write the answer, is 9x. And now, guys, I simply have to multiply the 2 in with each term that's inside the bracket. You know that already. Okay? So 2 times 2x is 4x. Where's my black pen? 4x. 2 times 5 is 10. Now it's a negative 2 times 6, which is negative 12, and a negative 2 times negative x, which is a positive 2x. Then 2x times 3x is a positive 6x, and 2 times 2 is 4, and on the right hand side we have a 9x. Okay, so on the left hand side I'm first going to simplify all the like terms. Here we have a 4x plus 2x plus another 6x, and that's going to give me 12x. Then we have a 10 minus 12, which is negative 2, plus 4, which is a positive 2. Alright, and now I get all the like terms on the same side. So 12x and the 9x becomes a negative 9x, and the positive 2 becomes a negative 2 if I take it over to the right hand side. 12x minus 9x is 3x. Now I divide with 3 on both sides, so then x is equal to negative 2 over 3. Yo, that was a very long answer. Right, only question D left. Okay, look here, they tell us now that x is not equal to 2, because if I substitute x with 2 here, then I have 0 in my denominator, and that is not allowed. Okay, so please don't let this x not equal to 2 bother you. Okay, now we have to go find our LCM, but do you see that there is 2 terms in my denominator now? Don't let that bother you. Your LCM will then just be x minus 2. Okay, remember we can make this a fraction by putting it on 1 so that it has a denominator. Alright, so now I ask myself, with what should I multiply this denominator so that it looks like the LCM? I don't have to multiply it with anything, so it's just the 3 that's going to stay there. With what should I multiply the next denominator so that it looks like the LCM? With nothing, so it's just the x. And now here, with what should I multiply this 1 so that it looks like the LCM? I should multiply it with the whole LCM, which is x minus 2. But what I do at the bottom, I must do at the top as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to say that negative 4 must multiply with x minus 2. Right, and now I remove the brackets by multiplying this negative 4 in with everything inside the bracket. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Alright, and I solve for x now. This negative 4 I'm going to take to the left hand side, and it's going to become a positive 4x. I already have a positive 8 on the right hand side, and this positive 3 on the left hand side I take to the right hand side, and it becomes a negative. So 4x minus 1x is 3x. And 8 minus 3 is 5. So to get x alone, I'm going to divide with 3. Alright, so x is equal to 5 over 3, or you can say it's 1 2/3. There you go. I hope you understand the homework. Please feel free to ask us any questions if you are uncertain of something.